Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us for this special live session. I'm Itzik Amiel, and together with my friend Olivia Kong, we are excited to bring you a new IPBA standout episode. This is collaborative broadcast that brought to you by the IPBA and the Switch. In this series, Olivia and I will interview an international legal leaders out of the amazing community of the IPBA members and share with you in new insights, new ideas, and stories and strategies to inspire you and help you to grow your professional practice in your career, and I'll add even your life. So if you're listening to us right now, we are right away live. You're very invited to join us. And Olivia, my friend, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good. I mean, I'm gonna just like to surprise you with a question. So here's a surprising question for you: Is any good news happened to you recently in the last few weeks that you could share with all of us?
Not yet.
So you keep it to excitement. So I
Going
mean, if
to,
you want to
but
know
not
more
yet.
about it, probably. I mean, I know you cannot share a lot of it with us, but if you want to know more goodness from Olivia, come to Chicago. You probably will hear more faces with Olivia. I'm sure she will be happy to share with you. But thanks, Olivia. But this episode, as you all know, we titled it "Low Logic and Passion: A Whole Brain Approach." I mean, the full mouth of title. We're going to discover very soon why we needed all those components for the title. Again, if you're joining us, let us know who you are, where you're dialing from in the chat here under our video, and let us know that you are here, that we are not here alone in the room because we want to see all the community joining us. And again, if you have questions to our speaker during our discussion, please feel free also to ask your question because that's what we're doing it for you. So, in our profession, we often hear that lawyers must choose, between being analytical machines and creative spirit, if you want. And the legal industry has traditionally really celebrated the left brain thinking, logic, analysis, precedent. We taught to think like lawyers, exactly like many universities do, to dissent, argument, to find a precise statutory language, sorry. But here's what's fascinating to me, and I think Olivia will agree with me. Research shows that the most innovative law firms are led by attorneys who actively cultivate both analytical and creative thinking. But what if that's a false choice? What if the most successful attorney are those who mastered both? What do you think, Olivia? Any idea about
I
it? Do
think
you think we need both
I
left,
think
right brain?
creativity is actually very important uh, to being a lawyer, in fact. And there's lots of misconception that you don't need creativity because when people hire a lawyer, they want your creativity to maneuver around the law, in fact. And for example, as a litigator myself, when we do litigation cases, we are basically playing a game of chess, and you need to think out of the box in order to win cases. So it's actually a very important element.
Absolutely. And I agree that you agree from all over the world exactly the same because, I truly believe that today complex legal challenges from air regulation to climate change litigation really demand lawyers who can think both linearly and laterally. Because again, studies shows that lawyers who engage in creative pursuit, as Olivia said, indeed, are actually better at pattern recognition and innovation legal solution that you're looking for. Think about it. When was the last time? Yeah, you listening to us. When was the last time you actually let yourself explore the other side of your brain? Did you know that studies show that lawyers who regularly engage in creative activities report higher job satisfaction and better clients outcome? Maybe you know, maybe you didn't. Because we're seeing top firm now offering, if you're listening, they're offering creative workshop, mindfulness program, and even, art classes. Did you ever ask yourself why? Because they have discovered that the whole brain lawyers are better problem solver, more effective communicator, and more resilient practitioners. So the question isn't whether to be logical or creative. It's about to harness both powers to become an extraordinary lawyer. And for this reason, we have the honor to have this insightful episode with our special friends, Advocate Michael Chu, the current president of the Inter-Pacific Bar Association. And really want to stay with us if you want to discover how to grow your practice or career in a joyful way, but the whole brain approach. So before we invite Mike to join us, let's just give you some highlights about Mike. And of course, we're doing it behind people's back, as you know, because we don't want to embarrass people to listen to their own resume. But in short, Michael P. Chu focuses his practice on all aspects of patent law, including complex litigation, opinions, and prosecution. He serves as the local IP litigation practice group leader in McDermott, Chicago office. And if you allow me, I'll call him Mike for the sake of our episode. Mike is also the head of the firm Racial and Ethnical Diversity Subcommittee, and I hope I say it right. And his litigation practice, Mike handles patent, trademark, trade secrets, and copyright matters, including trials, hearing, and grant proceeding, including IPRs and PGRs. I don't know what it is. He will tell us soon. And mediation. And he's also current president, as I said, of the Inter-Pacific Bar Association for the year 2024-25, and the chair of the host committee of the IPBA 2025 annual meeting and conference in Chicago. And we soon going to hear more about it. But without further ado, let's build Mike join us. Hello, Mike, and thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks, Itzik. Hi, Olivia. How are you?
Hello.
Hello. Good to see all of you. Thank you for inviting me.
Great. And I see people still joining us as we are live. Thank you for joining us, Mike, and for the time and valuable time. But here's advice to those of you joining us right now who are really interested. Be settled in, take notes, and if you like, but more importantly, open your mind, please, to a different way of thinking about success in law, because this is all about this episode. Because today's conversation will teach you how to harness both powers, as I said, the logical and the creative, to become extraordinary lawyer. And before we dive in, I want you all to consider, what passion have you left behind in the pursuit of legal excellence? And could rekindling them actually make you a better lawyer? Maybe that will let you think when we dive into the conversation. Olivia, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Now, as Itzik has mentioned, Mike, you're a leading IP lawyer. He has been like going through your whole CV to us. So, but in fact, you are also incredibly artistic. You've got a passion for photography that includes work with organizations like Flashes of Hope. I have actually seen Mike's work. They are brilliant, by the way. And many lawyers feel trapped in the left brain world of logic. So, how does your photography and your ability to tap into that right brain gives you an edge in your legal practice? And how can other lawyers cultivate this balance?
Thanks, Olivia. I'm flattered that you've seen my work, by the way. So that's I really appreciate that. And it was actually very interesting, Itzik, to hear your discussion, between you and Olivia before I came on. I could hear that, and your discussion about lawyers sort of leaving their passions behind to pursue law. I'd never really thought about it that way, but for a couple of minutes, I started thinking about that. And Olivia, I can tell you how it enhances my practice by telling you how it sort of started. I grew up, with my parents emphasizing lots of artistic things. They really wanted me to play the piano. I played a lot of piano and a couple of other instruments growing up, as many immigrant kids in the U.S., particularly Asian kids, kind of did. It was kind of the thing to do back then, because there were communities around that in the United States in the 1960s and 70s. So I did that with the encouragement of my parents, and then I had to go to engineering school and then law school, which is really what I wanted to do. But in pursuing those careers, I couldn't just leave that stuff all behind. I managed to continue to do some of the music and creativity type things when I was in undergrad and law school. But then starting a career, we all know how stressful and difficult a career can be. And the thought of just leaving that all behind, and I tried doing that for a couple of years to focus on my career. It was fine, but it was very difficult, and I missed it. And I found more time to do that. And there's many reasons why I decided to do it. And the main thing was to get a little more enjoyment back into my life. And my wife Stephanie reminded me once, when we were talking about the first couple of years of my practice at that time in the early 1990s, she said that all you did was work. You were at the office all the time till midnight every day, and that was true. And there was no time left for any of this artistic stuff. But then what I did was I tried to make time, and making time really enhanced my career in a number of ways. First of all, I practice patent law, as Itzik said, intellectual property law, and a lot of the work that we do is visual related. Our clients, our engineers, they like to see drawings. We try cases before judges and juries, and many of them are, see things, especially high technology cases, which is what we do. They see things graphically and visually. So we were always in the early days making videos and top-notch graphics and things like that to be demonstratives in courts. And frankly, having an artistic background was super helpful there. I go into early case meetings and say, you know what, I envision this. Why don't we try doing this? We could hire somebody to help us draw it out or make a video. But I always was able to just do that because I was used to envisioning sort of media type things. So that really helped my practice from that kind of standpoint. But it was also a good way to sort of exercise, like you said, Olivia, the right side of my brain. I mean, we spend so much time, doing logical analyses, reading case law, studying. You can really, I think, atrophy that side of your brain. And once you exercise it, and it felt so good to go back to that. And I think it made my whole brain, both sides of it, feel much better. And I was happier, and I continue to do it to this day. It further enhances my practice because it is a really good business development tool. You have things in common with other people that have nothing to do with the law. I've gone to see photography exhibits with clients. I've had clients come and sit in on a photography shoot just because they were curious. It's just a point of conversation with somebody who enjoys photography. Through the IPBA, I met somebody in Peru. What was that? A couple of years ago, we had our mid-year meeting down there, and I met somebody who was a photographer doing very much the same subject matter that I do, and we hit it off. We went and had coffee. I mean, it was wonderful. And then I think finally, it is a stress relief to be able to say, I'm going to do this. I'm gonna spend some time doing some photography or playing some music. Is a huge stress release, and this is a very stressful profession, and it can be very, very stressful at times. And it's nice to have something like that to look forward to. Anyway, that's my answer.
Thanks very much for sharing your inspiring personal story, Mike. I know just the beginning. I mean, I wish it was Olivia the opposite, that he said, I all day long play music and do photography, and when I'm too calm, I need to be stressful, I do some law cases. So it should be the opposite one day.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good point. It could have been the opposite, because there was a time in my life where I was considering pursuing a music major degree. Came very close, auditioning, things like that, and I decided that probably wasn't the practical thing to do at the time. So there was a time in my life that I was doing that. So I often think if that's the career that I would have done, I don't know whether I would be exercising the other side, my left side of my brain, by, I don't know, reading legal case books or something. I'm not sure.
I feel sorry, because at the end of this episode, Olivia, I think we're going to ask Mike to reconsider his career, but we'll get there soon. But I think what struck me about your approach, Mike, is really how you turn your what we say conventional wisdom on its head. Because while many people, many professionals focus solely on billable hours, you have demonstrated again that diverse interests really sharpen our legal instinct. I think that's a very good example of that. So let's explore how this balance play out in daily life, because I'm sure that's a question many of our viewers asking themselves. So the question for you is, how do you really integrate this passion and your family life and all these demands of high-profile legal career that you have? And what advice do you really give to those lawyers who are listening to us, who are struggling with this, I want to call it life balance, but work-life integration?
First of all, I think with respect to non-legal activities, like anything, I think you have to schedule it. And I've been good at that and not good at that at various times in my career. If I want to play an instrument or practice or something like that, I try to schedule time to do that, or put myself in a place where I'll be able to do that during a time period where I'm not disturbed, but that doesn't happen as much these days, but it used to. I think I was a little better at it before. But I've been fortunate to be at a couple of law firms in my career that have been very supportive because they see the bigger picture. Our firm here, McDermott, they're really great on kindness and health, and to make sure that its attorneys are happy. And it's a big thing. And family life, finding time to do things that you enjoy, I think is important to a lot of firms. And I think firms that are mature enough to see that are helpful in helping you do that. And I've been very fortunate in that regard.
Great. That's amazing, Mike. Thank you very much for that. Again, if you have questions for Mike during this session, please do it as well. In the session, I saw that there was a remark. I mean, by the way, this is the first time we are live both on Facebook and on LinkedIn. So it's actually an interesting thing on IPBA page. So if you're watching us on Facebook or on LinkedIn, we're happy if you ask a question there, because we'll be able to address Mike with your question. Now, the integration of personal passion and professional excellence raises actually a crucial point about the sustainability of your legal career of all of us, right? But Mike really takes this even further, as you're going to hear soon, pushing physical and leadership boundaries. Before that, again, if you have any question, if you have anything else you want to add, please put it in the chat under so we can address Mike with it. Again, we are here with Michael Chu talking about logic and passion, a whole brain approach. And let's talk about now the other interesting aspect of your personality, Mike. And I'm sure many of our viewers have said will never heard and knew about. So, Olivia, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I really have to share this with you guys because I don't know myself. In fact, Mike is a serious athlete. From discussion with him during before our live, he in fact ran 19 marathons and completed 2 Ironman triathlons and swimming in Victoria Harbor. Okay, so this is something even I won't do, and I was a semi-professional swimmer. Okay? So, swimming in Victoria Harbor, it's the hygienic issue, but he managed to do it. So your commitment to physical challenges is remarkable. So obviously, as you're also head of the firm's racial and ethnic diversity subcommittee, now how has this dedication to endurance sports shaped your approach to challenges in your legal career? And what parallels can you draw between athletic training and building a successful legal practice?
Thanks, Olivia. And going through the statistics, I try not to talk about those very often, but you guys pulled it all out of me during our initial conversation about this. And I had not counted up everything the way you have, but I guess that makes sense. It is, first of all, the exercise and the races and stuff, that was a time in my life that I'm very proud of, but it was it was prior to the pandemic. And so I'm trying to do that again soon. It was done out of a couple of necessity things. One of them was I really needed to get back in shape, and so I did it. And I really kind of went for it and pushed to try to get better. And I think that's why there were 19 marathons, because I kept trying to get better and better and better. And I think that is part of the theme of your ultimate question is, how does endurance sports kind of shape the challenges and the other things that I do? And I think the easy answer to all of that is it focuses on the long game. It helps you focus on the long game. There's no immediate, except for a very few rare and very lucky and usually very young people, running a marathon and deciding that you're going to run it at a sub 3-hour pace. Some people can just go out there and do that. For most of us, you have to work and work and work for years and see the long game and say that, 5 marathons from now, I'm going to try to break, 3:30, or 5 marathons from now, I'm going to do that. And 5 marathons could be 5 years. The game with respect to, issues relating to diversity are long games. There's no quick solution to a lot of those things, and it's fairness for everybody. And so we have to look on the long game and the broad game with respect to all of that. And it's very similar. And so it teaches endurance. When you train for a marathon or you run a marathon, you're going to trip, you're going to hurt your ankle, things aren't going to feel right, your knee's going to feel funny, but you decide, am I going to push through? Am I going to try to make it? And you say, well, I only have 22 miles to go. And so sometimes you just go that 22 miles with a hurt knee. And sometimes, as in my last marathon, you walk the whole rest of the way pretty much because your foot's hurting. And you decide that, but every single time I've never not finished a race. Let me put it that way.
So awesome. I think before we continue, we have here a question from Woody from Beer Twin Lang. Said he's saying that once you reach a certain threshold, increased abilities no longer help you succeed. So what do you think, Mike, about correlation between technical skills and social people skills connection? Probably lucky break. Any short input here, Mike?
Wow, Long, that is a difficult question. I'm glad you kept it up there, Itzik, because this is my friend Long in Ho Chi Minh City, I think. It's great. That's a great question. I think it is all related. Luck has a play in it, and I don't think that there is a limit to what you can do or how you can how you can achieve success. Yes, like for running, if something hurts or something like that, you just have to set your goals differently. And those goals can be just as effective. If you your goal is to I don't know, participate in 3 trials in the next year, bring in business for 3 trials. And, sometimes the luck would have it, well, the court schedule doesn't allow 3 trials, or there's a pandemic or something like that that happens. Well, you define success a different way. You say, well, okay, then I'm just going to develop business that will be equivalent to those 3 trials. I'm going to develop relationships that will give me the challenges and teach me enough about technology and the law in these areas prior to that. Maybe I'll write something, and then I'll push the writing so that it gets out there. You have to redefine. And then luck often plays, I saw the word luck in Lung's long message, but I think luck plays into it as well. But many people say this, you can't be lucky unless you put yourself in the right place to be lucky. And the more you put yourself in the right place to be lucky, meaning in my view, you put yourself with an expansive view, you have an open mind, and you go to things. You don't just sit in your room and think, okay, I hope something happens so I get lucky in my work. That's not going to happen unless you put yourself out there.
Great. And I think really, if you pay attention to the answer Mike just gave you, he said that if you put 3 trials in the coming 3 months, actually use the 2 components. You put the plan and the schedule, because otherwise it's just dream. It's not a plan. When you have a plan, you have a timing, you have a thing, you will achieve it. Maximum, you just defer it, but you will achieve it. So that's the difference. And indeed, luck is something that doesn't happen according to statistics. That's what we call luck. There is no luck. But if opportunity comes and you're not prepared, of course you're going to miss the opportunity and you're not going to be lucky, as we said. Yep. So again, those who are joining us, we're even Mike Chu speaking on low logic and passion, a whole brain approach. You didn't miss it. There's still time. We're still in the middle, almost at the end of our conversation. And if you want to ask a question, that's your time to ask it right now in the chat, because we would love to ask you a question, or if you have any input or comments to give during the session. So Mike, these endurance challenges you have shared with us mirror the stamina required to building a global practice, and that's what we're doing actually in IPBA. And speaking of global perspective, my question would be to you, actually, Olivia, and my question to you is, how does your involvement with the IPBA, because it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, and your international experience, of course, in your job, shape really your perspective on the legal profession? And if you allow me, what opportunities do you see for lawyers who are really now want to expand this practice globally? Is that a good timing? Shall they do that?
Yeah, I think the IPBA has been a tremendous, source of enjoyment and career fulfillment for me. I think this is another thing that people may not know, is that I've been involved with IPBA since I think 2001 or 2002. It was the first time I had been back to Asia as an adult. I was there many times when I was a little kid, a couple times when I was a little kid. And, Wilson Chu took me there, who was a longtime IPBA member in 2001, I think, for the IPBA Hong Kong conference. And it had a tremendous effect on me in terms of teaching me that there is an international world out there of lawyers that I didn't know. And it taught me, first, it also taught me to never swim in Victoria Harbor again, because I did it on that trip. I still feel like I have the effects of that swim. I don't know who allowed me to do that at the time. But it made me realize that, there are organizations out there that really do network lawyers, and there's many, many of them now. I think we live in a embarrassment of riches right now, in that there are so many great organizations. So, I've been involved in many. I know Olivia has, and others, NAPABA, the ABA, the IBA, all of these organizations really enhance those people's practices that way. IPBA does it in a way that is sort of unique. I think the networking events, social events, and things are really there to enhance lawyer to lawyer, law firm to law firm sort of contact and networking. It's very sticky, is what I always say. Really great relationships develop out of it. So that's enhanced my practice a lot, and it's a necessity, because I've really and I find it a lot with IPBA lawyers. You build relationships, really good relationships, that can enhance your practice and enhance things. So it's a necessity for me to do, to really enhance. If you want an international practice, which is what I wanted ever since coming to Asia for that first time, it's really the way to do it. You'll meet so many people from all over the world who are looking for the same thing, just establishing relationships where we can refer work to each other. And it has yielded that for me many, many, many times over. It has helped fortify or even create my international docket of work over the years, and not only Asia, but all sorts of countries. I've met people through IPBA that are in Europe that I've developed the work through. I think that's your original question, but I think it's been a great resource, and then I became a leader of it, which is extremely time consuming. I don't know how I found myself here. It was interesting when I was just back in Hong Kong a couple of was it a week ago? And I was chatting with Olivia. I couldn't believe that I'm back here as head of IPBA when I had come as probably the lowest ranking person in IPBA in 2001 to Hong Kong. I felt like I've come full circle. But it was great, and it's busy. But someone told me once, don't lead an organization unless you love the organization. Don't do it for yourself. And I love the organization, so this is why I'm doing it.
That's a beautiful word, Mike. And I think everybody listening to us appreciate a lot of your work. And we're going to hear soon about the Chicago, because after that, everybody will know Mike and all the hard work you did for the last almost one in a year, I think, about it. But thank you very much for that, Mike. Again, I mean, we're almost at the end, but we ask always the same last question for all our guests, because success in law, like international relationship, is built on meaningful connection and gratitude. That's also for you, Rudy, who asked the question. So let's use this good opportunity to give attention to people who deserve it within the IPBA global community. Now, I said in advance, we asked Mike to give us only 2-3 names. So if you don't hear your name, don't get insulted. He probably can say it, and hundreds of you. So we just asked for 3 names he could pick up to thank out of this community, and not including, of course, Olivia and myself. So, Mike, what will be the answer? What are the 2-3 people you want to thank in the IPBA community, and why?
Sure. The first one I already said was Wilson Chu. We are not related, but we have the same last name in English. But he grew up in Hong Kong, and again, he took me on that first fateful trip. If he had not taken me on that trip, my life would be very different right now. But he has been a mentor to me for over 30 years. I respect him tremendously. I'm very fortunate that he is actually in my own firm. And our email addresses are very similar, so we keep getting each other's emails all the time. But we've been involved together in many other organizations, and I have him to thank for a lot of this stuff. He was on the council, and I often tell him it's his fault that I'm involved in any of this. I literally took his spot on the council, I don't know, 7 years ago, and I've stayed on it since. Wilson Chu is a very important one. Another person, sort of on the same spectrum, but much younger than Wilson, is James Jung. He's a dear friend of mine. You all know James. He is in Australia, and he grew up in New Zealand, but he's living in Sydney right now. He's been a tremendous support for me in this conference and all through IPBA. We've become very, very fast and good friends. I would never have met him had it not been at IPBA back in where was it? Brussels, many years ago. We just happened to be leaving a council meeting. We were both on the council, but he was sitting on the other side of the room. I never met him. I was new to the council, where I famously took Wilson's seat over. And I didn't know anybody, and we were walking out to lunch outside of the building, and he seemed to be walking the same direction as I did, and we started talking, and I noted he had a very interesting New Zealand accent, and we just went from there. We've been fast friends since, and our families are good friends now. We see each other several times a year.
Wow, awesome. I'm sure many of you will hear more about it in Chicago, but we want to use that, actually, Mike, this special opportunity
Mhm.
actually to also because you are the chair and the host of the committee of the IPBA 2025 annual meeting and conference in Chicago. So if you could share with us in short the highlights about this conference, and why do you think those who listen to us who didn't make up their mind yet, who this should listen to us, actually should come, should join in April in Chicago? What would you answer, Mike?
You absolutely should come. There's first of all, this is the first time that the conference is being held in Chicago. Only the second time it's been held in the United States. And the last time it was held in the United States was, I don't know, 15 years ago in Los Angeles. We're very excited that people are coming to Chicago. We already have nearly 800 people signed up,
Wow.
most of whom, a great majority of whom are from outside the country. A large number of them have never been to Chicago. And so we're very excited over here in Chicago to host them and show them everything that we have to offer. And we have many things planned in order to do that. But from a practice perspective, the thing I say all the time when I'm trying to promote the conference is, for those of you in the United States or in North America in general, or on this side of this hemisphere, Asia is coming to you in Chicago. Asia is coming to us here in Chicago. So you could do a tremendous amount of business development, meet literally hundreds of law firms and people from those law firms that are in Asia that have significant business related practices in all areas of law. You can meet them right here in a great setting where you can really get to know them. And if you really, hit it off, you can have further meetings a couple days later, but they're all coming here. You don't have to go to Asia. You don't have to go to Europe and do one of those crazy trips where you promote yourself to 8 firms in a day. That is exhausting. You can do that here all at once. And already I've got firms that are here that are coming in asking to, meet other folks at my firm and things like that while they're here. So they're doing the tour that we usually do. So if you're in North America, definitely come. It's very easy. Finally, if you like Chicago, and we have so much to show off here, our opening reception, which is always a great thing, is actually a baseball game between the Chicago Cubs and the World Series champion LA Dodgers. So it's a tremendous game. Shohei Ohtani will be there, and it's actually, I think, a critical mass of largest number of Asian baseball players in the Major League Baseball at one place at one time. So if you're in Chicago and if you have nothing to do with IPBA and you want to see that baseball game, good luck getting a ticket for that, because that's actually a very difficult thing to do. And we have 800 tickets to that game. So if you register for the conference, you get a free ticket, bus transportation, food, everything. We're also going to be showing off Chicago blues music at our gala. We're going to be showing off local dancing. We're showing off a tremendous music scene at our final closing dinner. Lots to see. And then we also have 82 substantive programs. Just the conference is a lot to offer, and there's even golf on both ends. So it's the usual IPBA conference, but transplanted to the wonderful city of Chicago.
Great. And I just want to echo again what you said, because I built my portfolio when I was a lawyer. I mean, all Asia from IPBA, again, many years, every single year. And I met everybody in the Far East, and then when you go to the country, you already know all the people you need to meet. So I suggest all of you thinking about it, that's the place to be. There's no other conference who can achieve that. Any other organization, I remember many of them, that's the place to be. And now it's coming to you. So there's no reason to be lazy. It's close by. It's not on the other side. What
I'm
Olivia?
coming.
Yep.
I'm coming to Chicago. You guys can meet me.
Of course you are, Olivia. I think you should set up a booth where you do this. Do sort of a
exactly.
live.
Meet Olivia.
There you go. But Itzik, you make a very good point. I forgot to mention this. By going to IPBA, you quite literally know somebody quite well in virtually every country of the world. I mean, so anywhere that we travel on vacation or business, you have your business meeting or you have your, vacation, stuff like that. There's always somebody you can call that will stop what they're doing and spend time with you, just hang out or talk legal business. They'll introduce you to law firms if you want. It's like, hey, I don't know this firm in Hong Kong. I've never met with them. Olivia, do you know anybody there? Yeah, absolutely. You want me to set you up a meeting? I'll do it. And we do it. It's been everywhere from Dubai to Indonesia to Sydney to New Zealand to Peru.
To
We have
Amsterdam.
dear friends there. It's tremendous.
And maybe I should whisper to those of you listening to us right now, if you come to the IPBA, I promise you one thing: those people who coming there forgot the ego at home. So don't tell me I told you that, but they don't have that. Many conferences you go, they take him with you. There, they don't. And you speak to senior people, junior people, everybody's so kind and nice. I promise you, you will thank me afterwards. So, Olivia, any other question to Mike before we're going to say goodbye to him and we're going to summarize behind his back? So, anything else come to mind that you want to ask Mike? And I'm asking all of
Yeah,
you there if you listen to your question.
please make sure you reserve a ticket for me for the baseball game.
I will. You just want one? You want another one?
No, just me. I'm actually bringing all the good-looking girls from Asia.
I have no comment,
Yes,
Olivia.
actually, I'm not kidding, because actually a lot of people needs to transfer from Hong Kong to fly over to Chicago. That's why there's a lot of people going on a plane with me at the same time.
Great.
We've got a group of people.
There you go. Well, you're lucky that's an easy flight from Hong Kong to Chicago. It's just as fast as going Hong Kong to Los Angeles. So it's great.
Don't leave us yet because we didn't finish yet talking to Mike. But as we wrap up today's conversation, let me ask you this. How many of you feel like your legal career has become a never-ending marathon with no finish line in sight? How many of you have put aside a creative passion that once fooled your ambitions? Now, maybe you remember after the session, what would happen if you gave those passion a new life? Yes, maybe after listening to the session, what if you approach your legal work with the same sense of adventure and endurance Mike bring to the Ironman? Imagine how that could transform not just your practice, but your entire outlook, your entire life. And think about the client you serve. How often do you connect with them on a human level, tapping into the stories, into the emotions? Think about it. But now we want to thank you, Mike. It's been, again, a great pleasure, inspiring to have you here. And I know there's so many more stories you can share with us in Chicago, and we see you face to face. And I know our listeners are walking away with renewed sense of possibility, ready really to reclaim, I hope, the passion they left behind in the service of the legal career, and you help us achieve it. So thank you very, very much for that, Mike.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Itzik and Olivia, for inviting me. This has been a privilege. And I hope to see everybody in Chicago, not just you guys. I know I'm going to see you guys in Chicago, but I hope I see everybody.
For sure. Don't leave us yet because Mike, thank you, Mike. Goodbye for now. And when Mike leaves, we want to speak behind Mike. Olivia and myself always love to have a short discussion. So don't leave us because we want to say what we learned. Olivia, what is your insight? What do you think? You loved it, right?
Yes, I have to say, because you did ask a question which I didn't manage to have a chance to answer yet about the IPBA. I want to talk about my experience, why I'm still in the IPBA. Well, I started off as a sponsored young lawyer to attend the IPBA about 10 years ago. So I was actually a sponsored lawyer by the Law Society. So I was a little kid being brought to see the world. So Seoul was actually my first conference. And the reason why I ended up here again is because during the conference, I only had a very quick meeting with a Japanese firm. And during that 1 hour, I got a corporate deal. And my boss, I have to admit, he was very surprised. And so, since then, the firm basically sponsored me every year to go to IPBA, and I managed to bring work back to the firm every year. And after that, I started my own law firm. I co-founded a law firm. And so I had to pay myself, but I'm more than willing to do that because it's not only about work. These people becomes your lifetime friends. And we mean like real friends, not how to say, not like those like colleagues or things like that. They're real friends. And I mean, like, for example, one of my friends, she moved from Singapore to move to Hong Kong, and she must be a stalker, I think. I met her in Vancouver, IPBA, And now she's just living down the road from me, and she married someone she met in Hong Kong, have a baby. It's also, so it's, you get all sorts of really good friends, and it's not only about work. These people are fun, and you get to know a lot of their cultures. So it's definitely, I think it's an organization that I strongly recommend to attend. It's not too big to the point where you don't know anybody, and it's not too small to the point where it's not enough funds to do much things, frankly. So yeah, I have attended quite a lot of different organizations before. I've tried, but this is the only one I stayed. But there we go.
And that's what my exactly what Mike said. If you enjoy, stay. If you don't, just move on. And exactly what you're good evidence of that. And if you go back to Mike's story, I think I have no doubt that Mike's story, if you're listening carefully, if you didn't watch the whole replay from the beginning, it really helped us and showed us that some of the most powerful legal advocacy comes not from taking technical mastery alone, and I always believed in it, but from a whole person understanding really of the challenges your client face, because you're a person, you know what it is. So here's my key 5 insights. I really summarized it while listening to Mike's story and actually in our preparation for this call. That really could be, if you want, a powerful blueprint to any lawyer looking for redefined success. So if you're ready, take your pen and paper, write it down. First, I think is integration over separation. Success doesn't require sacrificing passions for profession. Get it? Second, I think the whole brain thinking, as you heard, creative pursuit really enhance your legal problem solving and the opposite. So if you have both, you'll be lucky more. Number three is endurance mindset. You heard it several times, this word, but building a practice is a marathon, not a sprint. It's the longer haul, the long way of doing things. It's not just shortcuts. There's no shortcuts, but if you do it right, you'll be successful. Number four, I promise five. So number four is global perspective. We heard it as well, but today legal opportunities transcend borders, and that's what you should practice. So organization like IBA absolutely get you that on the silver tray. So there's what not to accept. And number five, I think maybe one of the most important things for me, but you saw it absolutely today as a good example, because Mike is definitely a leader and the president of IPBA, authentic leadership. Personal passion fuel professional impact. Again, let me say it again. Personal passion fuels professional impact. And that's exactly the example I say. And I think there's a good quote from, I think it's Leonardo da Vinci, who said, study the science of art, study the art of science, develop your senses, learn to see, realize that everything connects to everything else. And it's exactly when you're going to come to realize, when you need to use your whole brain, everything connects to everything else. You meet amazing people, you find the uncommon commonalities, and you build relationship for less time. And this is perhaps the most powerful lesson from today's lesson. Excellence in law comes from not narrowing your focus, but from broadening your horizons and connecting seamlessly disparate dots together. So now, friends, it's time to take action and implement what you have learned in this session. I know it took longer, but we love this session. You saw the energies, you saw the stories. We have been here with Michael Chu. He is a partner of McDermott of office in Chicago and the current president of the IPBA, the Inter-Pacific Bar Association. And you are very welcome. You got a call to come to join us in Chicago to meet each other and to celebrate humanity and meet new interesting people to make your practice even more global. And the last thing I want to do is thank my friend Olivia for our joyful, again, I have to wait every time a month to talk to you, Olivia, but this joyful episode for new insight, new ideas. So thank you very, very much, Olivia, for everything.
You're more than
And
welcome.
and Olivia and myself want to thank each one of you joining us again. Thank you. I see all of you there. Thank you. As I said, it's the first time we did it in Facebook and LinkedIn. So let us know, how does it work? Did you see us? Did everything went well? Did you hear us well? Hopefully. Thank you for being us. See everyone in our next standout live episode with another prominent member of the IPBA with new insights, strategies, and ideas to grow your practice and your career. And until next time, thanks everybody, and see you in Chicago.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.